Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our workshop dedicated to tech hubs. I'm Erica, the Business Development Manager of Global Tech Hubs at Life Science Nation. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Alex.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Business Development Manager for the West Coast at Life Science Nation, and I am also the Entrepreneurial Education Lead. What that means is I am responsible for helping the West Coast startups get signed up for RESI, finding industry professionals and sponsors to partner with us. And then I've also been working with our team here at LSN to develop a new range of entrepreneurial education courses, which we will be going over later in the presentation.
Yeah, so Life Science Nation has identified this very unique group of over 1,000 tech hubs, including life science incubators, accelerators, tech transfer offices, universities, hospitals, and regional and government organizations who are all helping their startups with their entrepreneurship and fundraising journeys. We are always, looking to meet with global tech hubs and their startups to really understand their technology assets and innovation landscape. And the reason why we've developed our Tech Hub program is because we want to help both aspiring scientist CEOs from academia and first-time CEOs who may not have experience with fundraising to launch and grow their business to the next level. There's just so much technology out there, and we're really trying to help it get the recognition it deserves. So on my end, I work within the sales team, where I manage all of the Tech Hub relationships, while my colleagues, such as Alex, manages the relationships of all of our startups. So in this workshop, we'll just be talking about the tools and resources that LSN offers for this global ecosystem of Tech Hubs. Yeah, and again, just a reminder that we'll answer Q&A at the end, so please use the chat function below. So who is Life Science Nation? So we've been around for over 10 years and are headquartered in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We started off our company by selling two databases, the LSN Investor Database, which is used by fundraising executives and features over 10,000 capital investors and licensing partners. We also have our Business Development Database, which tracks the 4 Ds of drugs, devices, diagnostics, and digital health. And we sell that to industry professionals like big pharma and CROs who are all looking to sell their services to early stage companies or canvas the licensing environment. A few years ago, we started the RESI conference series, which is also known as the Redefining Early Stage Investments Conference. And we host that 5 times per year. So at RESI, we connect early stage life science startups who are raising seed to Series B capital with hundreds of investors and strategic partners. So as long as they are raising below 50 million US dollars, then they are a good fit for our global network of investors and partners. And as a tech hub organization, we can collaborate on getting your startups to our upcoming hybrid RESI Boston conference this September. So yeah, feel free to reach out. We also have other business arms, such as providing branding and messaging services to get your startups materials ready for investor meetings. And we also have fundraising workshops and education courses. As I mentioned, we do have our 3-day RESI Boston conference coming up this September, so 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. The first 2 days will consist of all in-person partnering, pitch sessions, panels led by investors, and educational workshops, while the last day, on the 23rd, is only virtual partnering. But everything will be recorded, and everyone will be able to view the recordings the week after. Looking at our RESI Boston conference agenda, we will have investor-led panels ranging from topics like artificial intelligence, age tech, and strategies and perspectives on fundraising rounds, preclinical assets, and more. We're also going to have panels led by current successful startup CEOs who will talk about their highlights and challenges in their fundraising journey. We will also have 14 on-site pitch sessions that startups can participate in and pitch directly to a group of investor judges. As a tech hub, it's extremely important to attend these partnering conferences because of three main factors. So first, to get your brand visibility out there through something like our dedicated pitch session or an exhibition table. Secondly, to secure the fundraising and partners needed to support your organization and startups. And third, you can even meet the startups that will be part of your next cohort. So yeah, you'll be able to find our conference agenda published on our RESI website closer to the event.
Cheers, Erica. And before we crack on a little bit more on the Tech Hub offers, I just wanted to give you a bit more information on the Innovators Pitch Challenge, which is the pitch competition that we host at all of our RESI events. It really is an amazing platform if you're an early stage life science firm to showcase your company's unique technology, highlight your pipeline to investors, and really highlight why you should be an investor's top choice, why they should be taking meetings with you, why they should be considering your company's technology for their portfolio. So prior to the pitch competition, we will be able to create a dedicated webpage for the company in which they send us a company description, a pitch deck, for example, executive summary, any other bits of information they want to be displayed on that dedicated webpage. And that will be posted to the live agenda, which is visible to all of the attendees of the RESI conference. Then when it comes to the actual pitch, which will be delivered in person during the first 2 days of the RESI conference, the pitch format will be a 4-minute pitch, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A. But what makes the IPC really unique compared to a lot of the other pitch competitions out there is that you will be pitching to 4, 5, 6, or maybe even 7 domain-specific investor judges. Over the years at Life Science Nation, we've learned that if you're doing a pitch, not only should you be pitching to investors who may want to start a conversation with you regarding your technology, but you should be pitching to relevant investors. So if you are a therapeutics firm, pitching to therapeutics investors who actually have experience in that sector making allocations is really valuable. And there will also be dozens of investors and other attendees in the audience as well. We're expecting anywhere between 300 and 400 investors to show up to RESI Boston, and it's going to be an excellent event. And then one more thing that you get from doing the pitch, which helps with your visibility, is you actually have a poster. This will contain a summary of your startup. It will be present in the RESI exhibition hall, meaning that there are going to be hundreds of investors and partners who are walking by, able to view it. And we will be providing more information on how to get that poster printed, what works for you. So really the IPC is a unique pitch competition. It's a great opportunity for any startup raising seed to Series B funding across the 4Ds. And without further ado, I'll hand you back to Erica.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, so our conference attendees are mainly made up investors, startups, and service providers. RESI Boston will be our first in-person conference since 2019, and we're all really excited about that. And it will be a hybrid format. So 2 days on-site and 1 day virtual. It will consist of 14 different on-site panels and 14 different on-site pitch sessions. Currently, we are expecting about 300 to 400 investors to attend, and they will range from venture capital firms, angels, family offices, big pharma, and more. In terms of service providers, they usually make up of nonprofits and CROs. What's really special about Life Science Nation is that we will help with the branding and messaging for startups so that they are ready to attend any RESI conference. For example, to prepare for one-on-one meetings with investors and strategic partners, a startup from your tech hub can send their materials to us, and we can provide feedback to make the format and content easier for investors to review. These same materials can also be used for the Innovators Pitch Challenge that Alex mentioned previously, where startups are grouped together based on their similar technology and can pitch directly to a group of curated investor judges. But overall, RESI is a very unique partnering conference filled with early stage startups, investors, strategic partners, and much more. In terms of registering for a digital or hybrid RESI, all Tech Hub affiliated startups who've raised less than $2 million are eligible for 50% off standard registration. And on top of that, once at least one of your startup registers using the 50% off discount code, then any Tech Hub staff can register to the conference for free. These discounted ticket prices are a great deal because it gives startups all access to partnering, pitch sessions, panels, and educational workshops at any RESI. And for the startups interested in pitching, the Tech Hub offer allows them to send an additional attendee at no extra cost, which again, provides the opportunity for startups to send at least 2 employees, one from the business side and one from the technology side. Something that, we are only doing for digital RESI in November is our audience access tickets, which allows members of your organization to access all live sessions, but without partnering credentials. And this can be useful for someone who is not ready to commit to partnering yet, but would still like to observe all of our great content. But yeah, overall, these are the offers that Tech Hubs can use to purchase for their startup cohort, or startups can just register with the discount code on their own. Another way that Tech Hub organizations can get involved is by sponsoring a RESI conference. So all Tech Hubs receive 50% off our standard price of $4K on all digital or hybrid RESI sponsorships. And having your Tech Hub sponsor is a really great benefit for both your organization and your startups, because you can extend brand visibility and advance reach to startups, investors, and strategic partners. Tech Hubs can receive a physical exhibition table or a virtual dedicated webpage, free registration to RESI, and we'll also have a wide range of marketing resources such as a logo feature or banner ad showcased on our website and newsletter. A special part about our sponsorship packages is that you can have a dedicated pitch session for your startup so that they can pitch to investors while you can promote and represent your organization through, maybe either moderating the session or providing a short introduction to your Tech Hub. So yeah, this is like a very great opportunity for everyone involved. And yeah, next we're going to talk about our education courses.
Thank you very much, Erica. So as Erica's been discussing, we have these really unique fundraising platforms that can really help bring together early stage companies, strategic partners, licensing collaborators, both the RESI conference and the LSN investor database. But something we do at LSN that's very unique is that we provide a lot of education and training around these unique fundraising platforms to make sure that the startups who are using them can really get the most benefit out of them. And with our education program, we cover the tactical elements that fundraising executives need to be aware of that aren't always covered in-house with some of the organizations that we work with. So for example, developing an extremely compelling narrative to bring to your investors, integrating a company's unique story into branding and messaging, from a tagline, your company identity distilled into roughly 5 to 7 words, all the way through an elevator pitch, a 2-page executive summary, a 1-page tear sheet, and a 10 to 12 slide pitch deck. How do you get a list of investors and partners from all over the world? How do you utilize a CRM tool to manage this list? How do you maximize your email and phone canvassing efforts, which have been conducted to really launch your partnering initiatives? And if you go to a partnering conference, for example, like RESI, how do you boost the number of meetings you get from 5 to 20? And so strategic elements are often covered in other education classes. And don't get me wrong, it's essential to understand the regulatory pathways, intellectual property, reimbursement strategies. But unless you know how to portray your company's unique story into a cogent message and then thread this through multiple modalities and take it to all of your investors and partners, the high-level elements, the high-level strategic elements are delivered with without context on how to best benefit from them in the long run. So at LSN, we have 3 education arms. The first are webinars and workshop series that we host each RESI cycle in the build up to the conference. And these cover a range of really important topics, such as fundraising boot camps, branding and messaging from seed to Series B, strategies for successful partnering. And these are sessions which I'll go into a little bit more detail on, but they can be delivered. We deliver them in the build up to each RESI cycle for all startups in our network, but we can also deliver these to tech hubs specifically. We have a whole new range of education courses ranging from half a day to 3 days long that really build on everything we cover, all the tactical elements that are covered in our education component at LSN. And then we also have the newsletters as well. We have the Next Phase newsletter, which goes out every week. We have the Mandate and the H-Tech Bulletin. And this goes out to a 50K readership. And these always contain active mandates from investors within our network. They contain exciting articles from both our investor research team, for example, from startups in our community. And they really cover important tactical elements that always make for a really interesting read. So if we move on to the workshops, so 3 of our most common workshops are fundraising boot camps, avoiding pitfalls, and improving the odds. And this is really designed to help these early stage scientists, entrepreneurs. It could be a first-time CEO. It could be someone who has maybe already started a venture. This could be their second or their third company. And it really helps to identify what are some of the myths of fundraising and how do you improve your chances of securing meetings with investors when you're conducting your partnering journeys, and how do you increase your visibility to investors. We have done workshops in person all over the world. Our founder and CEO, Dennis Ford, has been to Europe. He has been to China. He has been to Taiwan. He's been all over the world. We've had team members go to South America as well to deliver these workshops in person. That is something that we can do, and they can also be delivered virtually as well. Some of the other workshops that we do cover are strategies for successful partnering. For example, a lot of what we do is on helping early stage startups to get the most out of their fundraising and partnering journeys, how to do it effectively. We have a session called Preparing to Pitch at RESI and RESI Partnering 101. So if any companies were interested in attending RESI, they got signed up, or they're even signed up for the pitch competition as well, these sessions are designed to make sure that they get the most out of them. And this is also where, the regional BD managers at LSN, for example, we can help with analyzing, as Erica mentioned, we can help with analyzing any non-confidential materials that they might be bringing to investors. I work, for example, with a lot of companies, and I have them practice their pitch to me, be it an elevator pitch or a 4-minute, and I give them feedback on them. And then I also field questions to them and really help prepare them for their journeys and for participating at our RESI conferences, for example. So we have a bunch of unique workshops that are delivered every cycle, but can also be delivered specifically to particular tech hubs. And so moving on, we have the education courses. So the first course, the shortest one, the half-day course, is called Launching and Funding Startups, Seed to Series B. And this is really an introduction to some of the most important concepts that early stage fundraising executives need to be aware of when they're launching their global partnering initiatives. So one of the sessions that's covered is, launching your company and how to grow it successfully. We cover the pitfalls that first-time CEOs commonly run into and how to avoid them. What the 10 myths of fundraising are, and branding and messaging from C to Series B. All of these elements are absolutely critical to a fundraising journey. And in the afternoon, so the half-day course is the morning session, which covers 5 different unique lectures. And these can be delivered virtually or in person. But then the half-day morning session can be complemented with an afternoon session, bringing it to a full day. And this is where the LSN staff, for example, the members of our BD team, maybe some of the members of our investor research team as well, we would work with the companies directly to give them feedback on their materials. We'd use our BD database to perform a global competitive landscape analysis so that they could be better aware of, who else out there is developing technology that is similar to theirs or is addressing a similar unmet medical need. One of the most common misconceptions we get from entrepreneurs is we're the only person who's developing this technology. And it is very rarely that is the case, because once you go on our BD database that has over 62,000 emerging companies from around the world, you'll often find that there are at least one or two other companies that are doing something similar, or at least the unmet medical need is being addressed by dozens of companies over the world. And what we can also do is use our investor database to generate a global target list of investors so that they can begin understanding who are the players that we should be reaching out to, who are the partners that may be a good fit for our company. So that's the free course, which has half-day and full-day options. Next, we have the one-day course, which is really a tactical day. This covers a lot of the important elements that I mentioned before, such as how do you get a target list of investors and partners from around the world? How do you use a CRM tool to manage that list of investors? When you start having 200, 300, 400 potential investors who are on your radar, just using an Excel spreadsheet makes it very difficult to manage all of those different potential partners. How do you utilize email and phone canvassing to really maximize your partnering efforts? And most importantly as well, how do you successfully use social media in addition to business media to help with your partnering efforts? A great example I would give to all of you is that the relationship with LSN's title sponsor, First Republic Bank, actually began with a LinkedIn message, LinkedIn outreach. And now they've been our title sponsor for 4 conferences this year. And I think that just goes to show how important social media such as LinkedIn can be to a startup's partnering efforts. And then at the end of the day, we have a Tales from the Road panel that will really feature seasoned entrepreneurs. They've been through the LSN network, they've come to RESI, they've subscribed to our database, they've found success with their partnering and fundraising efforts. And this is a interactive discussion so that they can share their experiences with their fundraising efforts, but then also it's an opportunity for the life science startups to ask questions and to really engage with them. And so this course is one of our paid courses. It's a full day. It can be delivered online, virtually, or it can be delivered in person, as with the majority of our courses. And it's $1,400 a company. Moving on to the other course that we've developed, so preparing for your global fundraising roadshow. This is the 2-day option, is really an amazing and incredible deep dive into the branding and messaging efforts that a firm will need to do when launching their global partnering initiatives. So this is going all the way from a 5 to 7 word tagline, a 1-minute elevator pitch. The 1-minute elevator pitch is actually one of the most overlooked elements of your marketing collateral. You would think that an elevator pitch, it would make sense that you would need to have that prepared. But often when we come to startups and we say, okay, deliver me your elevator pitch, let's hear it in 5 to 7 sentences, why an investor should be interested in speaking with you. And normally it takes them about 2, 3, 4 minutes to deliver that to us because they get a little bit too deep into all the specific technology. And when you're at an investor conference, for example, sometimes if you're having an ad hoc meeting, then 1 minute might be all you get. So going up from the tagline and the elevator pitch to the executive summary, the 1-page tear sheet, the pitch deck, the 2-day course will cover all of these elements in depth. It will feature interactive exercises where the startups will actually be working with themselves. They'll be working with the LSN staff to get the most out of developing, all of these materials. And then there will also be tactical elements later in the second day, for example, such as, how do you generate a global target list and how do you reach out effectively to your target partners? And we actually have a 3-day option as well, which is very similar to the 2-day, but the difference is that we have tagged on the 1-day strategic course at the end of it. That's our most comprehensive educational course. It actually finishes with a Shark Tank where we will, if this is delivered online, for example, or if it's delivered in person, we will actually bring investor judges onto a Shark Tank panel, and your startups who participate in the course we'll be able to pitch to them. They'll be able to get really great feedback. And this is really an excellent opportunity, especially if you're doing this right before a RESI conference, having the opportunity to go through a Shark Tank and deliver your pitch to live investor judges and actually get feedback. It makes a whole world of difference when it comes to the real conference and you're actually conducting the pitch competition, for example, or you're taking investor meetings and you're looking for partners who could fuel the growth of your company. So those are all the education courses we do. They can be delivered in person, they can be delivered online. They range from half a day to 3 days, and they build upon each other and cover a lot of different and important tactical elements that a fundraising executive needs to be aware of when conducting their global partnering initiatives. So we've been talking a little bit now about the education course. I think what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a quick demo of our LSN investor database, just because we have mentioned it. And then I'm going to speak to you a little bit about a unique offer that we have for the investor database, specifically for the early stage constituents of tech hub organizations. So Erica, what I can do, I can share my screen now to make it easier for everyone to see. Perfect. So this is the user interface of the investor database. We track 10 different categories of investors, all the way from angels, corporate VCs, through to our larger farmers and private equity partners, and they come from all over the world. So before I crack on with a potential search, I just want to show you what one of our profiles looks like so that you can see some of the information that we track on our investors. So Green Park and Gulf Ventures, they've attended several RESIs. They entered our network. It was about 6 to 7 months ago, I believe. This first tab here, this can show you the general information on the investors. You can see here that there is their family office from Dallas, Texas. This particular firm is interested in many different sectors. They typically allocate $1 million per round, and they are interested in, for therapeutics wise, in phase 3 and beyond assets. They have a capital structure preference as equity, for example. But where this database really begins to differ from other databases such as PitchBook and Crunchbase, not including our life sciences oriented ontology, is the mandate tab here in the middle for this particular investor profile. All of this information is curated from a one-on-one interview with the investment firm. So you can see here that my colleague Claire updated the information with Green Park and Gulf Ventures about 6 or 7 months ago. And it contains an amazing array of information that if you are a fundraising executive, this is what you need to be seeing and reading, if you're determining, should I reach out to a potential partner? So you can see here that Green Park and Gulf Ventures generally acts as the lead. They're interested in mainly medical devices, diagnostics, digital health. They seek a strong and experienced management team. And if you meet their potential criteria, here are a couple of partners who you can reach out to at the firm. And Green Park and Gulf Ventures actually asks that if you are going to reach out to them, that you send a non-confidential business plan, for example, with all of these different elements. And if you're the fundraising executive, that's exactly what you need when conducting your partnering efforts. And this final tab here just shows you some of the contact information for the members of this firm. So if we go back, I'm going to refine the search now, show you some of the filters. So we track investors across all of the early stage domains of the life sciences, the 4Ds, drugs, diagnostics, medical devices, digital health. So let's say, for example, you are a diagnostics firm and you have developed an IVD platform, which is going to address an oncological indication. If we scroll down, you can also choose what product development phase the investors are interested in. So let's say, for example, you're in development. You are looking for investors who are interested in US-based companies, but you're also interested in finding investors who really will just consider a technology wherever it is. This geographic exposure tab, this shows you where in the world an investor is willing to invest. So if we click global and US, they'll be interested in companies globally and within the US. And this tab here, ownership preference, this shows you whether or not the investor is willing to invest in a public or a private company. We'll just do private company as that's most of the startups who we're working with. We run that search and we have 441 results that show up. There's a VC firm here from California. There's a couple from China. There's an angel group from North Dakota, a large pharma from Illinois, endowment from Baltimore, private equity from both London and New York, as well as a VC firm from Taiwan, for example. And this is just the first page. All of the information can be downloaded into Excel to help manage that data better. And then we can help with the export of that into a CRM tool, for example. And each search you run, you can save and set email alerts for any time a new investor or a new mandate, for example, is added. And that helps you really stay up to date with your particular search. And you can always go back and add more search filters, for example. Let's say you are a firm raising your Series A round, which is venture funding, and you're looking for an equity investment. You know, that 441 investors, that is your global target list. Those are all the players who you should be reaching out to for the chance of a potential partnership. But if we go back and we add a couple of more filters, we get an even more targeted list. And that's 350 investors, large farmers, potentially licensing collaborators as well. It's an incredible wealth of information that you have access to when you have access to a service like the LSN Investor Database. And the reason I wanted to show you it is because we do have a unique offer for the early stage constituents of tech hubs, those who have raised under $2 million. So what the offer entails, so normally a 12-month subscription to the database is $7,000, $6,995. And we do currently have a bundle on that, which includes RESI tickets and IPC packages as well, which we can discuss at a later time. But if you have raised under $2 million and you would like to have access to this Tech Hub group fundraising package gives access for 4 months to the database at $2,000 a startup, and we need a minimum of 3 startups. There really isn't much of a maximum, but this is an excellent deal because normally it's $7,000 for the full 12 months, and to have access to that many investors, especially if you're an early stage firm, you know, you've raised under 2 million, you're entering the space and you're just starting to conduct your partnering efforts, then having access to a tool like this is really an amazing resource. And so I believe with that, we have come to the end of our presentation. We do have some questions, which we said we would answer. So one anonymous attendee, can we get LSN staff to make a call at our regional tech hub? Absolutely. So Erica, as she mentioned, she is the BD manager of Global Tech Hubs. If you wanted any of the LSN staff, for example, a member of our investor research team and your local BD manager to speak to your startups through a webinar where we can deliver any of the content virtually, then just message or email Erica and she'll be able to help get that organized. Another anonymous attendee has asked, can I get a copy of Dennis's book and distribute it to my startups? Yes. So the slides of this presentation, plus a link to the ebook. Dennis wrote a book on fundraising, the Life Science Executives Fundraising Manifesto. A lot of the education content in our courses and in our workshops has been designed around the information from this book. All of the attendees of this workshop will have access to both the slides from today and Dennis's book as well. And let's see, any other question? We have a question here. The registration to the database lets export the profiles of the investors selected. There are fees for each download. No, so there aren't fees for each individual download. The way the database works is a company subscribes to it. And then if they wish to download the information into Excel, which can then be used to import that into our CRM tool, for example, to better manage your list of investors, then that's something we can help with. But once you subscribe, you have access to the information in the database. It's not a per download fee or per investor fee. It's access to the database, but the regimens are based on time. If you're part of the group fundraising package, it's 4 months per startup. If you've raised over 2 million, we have other plans available, which are bundled with RESI tickets, pitching slots, which the BD team would be happy to go over if that may be something that one of your startups is interested in, if you email RESI at Life Science Nation, and then the BD team will be able to help you out with that and determine, what's the best route for the particular startup and their fundraising needs. Brilliant. So I think that's all the questions for now. If anyone thinks of any questions later, please send them over to RESI at Life Science Nation. We'd be happy to help and answer them. And thank you very much for attending.
Yeah, thank you again to everyone who attended this session. Yeah, just look out for a follow-up email after this, which includes, again, the link to Dennis's ebook, The Fundraising Manifesto, a copy of the slides, and a link to the recording as well.
Yeah, and have a great week, everyone. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you next time. All right.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care, everyone.